Hey folks, welcome to Mr. Radden. Forms of therapy. You're not crazy, it just seems that way. It's already felt like a really long week. Anyway, I did get the opportunity to watch the new Flash trailer, and it's great to see Michael Keaton back. So I guess we'll find out how the film goes on the 16th of June. But for this video, folks, I wanted to do a reaction to a Jordan Peterson video where he discusses OCD in front of some others. For my 25th video, I wanted to finally talk about Jordan Peterson. Finally. To all those of you who have subscribed, because it looks like I have a few new subscribers, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your support. And anyway, let's get on with this video. Oh yeah, and the main reason I won't quit is because I've got this really bad habit of not giving up. Maybe it's contagious. Okay, so let's get cracking.
Hand washing, for example, is classified as an anxiety disorder, but there is an anxiety component to it, but I don't believe that that's an accurate classification. I think that obsessive compulsive disorder is actually a disorder of disgust, because all of the behaviors, including hyper grooming, because people sometimes have trichotillomania, they'll pull out the hairs on their body. The grooming behaviors and that sort of thing seem to be more associated with the operation of the disgust system, and almost everything about obsessive compulsive disorder has a disgust basis. And so one of the things that people who have OCD obsess about is that, like, I had a client once who was, this poor woman, by the time her OCD was done with her, she'd built the equivalent of an airlock on her house, like not technically proficient or anything like that, and her husband and her children had to go through an elaborate decontamination process before they were allowed to step foot in the house. And one of the things she was very concerned about was that she would go out to a supermarket and touch a piece of fruit and become contaminated, and then come home and touch her children, and then they would become contaminated. And so, well, she ended up in the hospital, and she was divorced. I mean, it just did in her life, you know. And so, and people who have obsessive compulsive disorder, you know, they'll wash their hands until.
OCD involves more than just wanting to be clean, because a lot of people think that it's only about wanting to be as clean as possible and be germ-free. There's actually more to OCD than that. But yeah, Peterson here is definitely on the right track. It's good. And I do feel bad for this woman he's just pointed out, because that can happen. It can happen. OCD, if you allow it to go too far, it can ruin your life, because it gets other people involved, and it can get to a point where they think, you know what, I'm out. I can't deal with this obsession anymore. It's gone too far. Get help. So in that regard, yeah, not helpful. Let's continue.
The soap is gone, like a whole bar of soap, right? And you can often tell who they are because their hands are shiny from washing too much, and they'll shower. They can't get out of the shower. They'll shower until the hot water is completely gone. And
yeah, again, that's also very true. If you're that obsessed with being clean, then just one hand wash, even if it's a thorough hand wash, is still not good enough. You have to do it again and again and again, and it can lead to using up a whole bar of soap in some instances. No matter how long it takes, you just feel that you have to keep cleaning yourself. Yep. Continue.
You know, so their self-cleaning mechanisms, so to speak, have gone seriously astray. And the way you treat them is by exposing them to things that are disgusting and contaminating. I had a client with OCD once. He was quite the character, and one of the things I had him do was we would look for things on the internet, pictures of things that really disgusted him. It's not that much fun, by the way, treating someone who has OCD, because I'm rather disgust sensitive, and so that was also rather hard on me. So anyways, we would look for things on the internet that he really didn't like, and then I'd print them out and have him put them on his fridge, which he did not like at all. And he had a bunch of other problems, and we got along quite well, but for a long time, I treated him for about 3 years. He would phone me like 3 or 4 times a day, because he had obsessive compulsive disorder, and just swear at me like mad, you know. He'd just swear, and I'd get these messages. He'd phone me, and he's just so mad at me because I'd had him put these things on his fridge, you know. And so he'd curse and swear and yell at me, and then 2 minutes later he would phone and apologize and say he was really sorry and hoped I would continue to see him. And God, that just went on forever. But I felt sorry for the poor guy, you know. He eventually ended up getting a puppy. Yeah, see, you agreeable people. Oh, a puppy! God, unbelievable, eh? Yeah. Anyways, that was good for him because he had to go around and clean up after the puppy, eh? But that poor puppy, it was quite dominant, and the things that happened to that poor guy. So the puppy would dominate him, so he'd take it outside to take it for a walk, and he wasn't a very skilled person in many, many ways. He had a very large number of...
Yeah, if you're going to get a dog, you need to make sure you do have your OCD under control, that's for sure, because animals are animals, you know.
Severe impediments, and so, but he really liked this pup. He didn't have any friends or anything like that, and he was supported by his aged mother, and it was just a catastrophe. And he'd go outside and try to walk the puppy, and the puppy would just sit down, right? Because it was doing dominant stuff, and he didn't know how to overcome it. And then these crazy people from across the way who styled themselves as animal rights activists started to harass him, eh? And they phoned up his mother and told him that if she didn't take the dog away from that retard, they were going to come over and, you know, do terrible things to him. And then he got harassed on the street, and then he went to a park with his dog, and they came up to him and pushed him on the car and swiped his dog and ran off to the SPCA and dumped it there, and he had to move away from his apartment. And God, it was just an absolute catastrophe. They had plenty of sympathy.
Yeah, that surprised me. A lot of people tend to have more sympathy for animals than human beings.
For that damn dog, but no sympathy whatsoever for the guy, you know. It was really something. Anyways, the story ended happily, weirdly enough. He got a job with a woman who used to be a psychiatric nurse who was training dogs. And she gave him a little job setting up the dog training thing, and then he got to learn to train his dog. He was a thin guy to begin with. He lost like 30 pounds trying to learn how to take care of this puppy. It was just, I thought he was going to die, but there was no way he was going to give up that dog. And so, anyways.
Yeah, don't I know it. But Jordan Peterson, right on the nail, right on the ball. He's good. He's very good. He knows his stuff. I thought this was an excellent video. When it comes to helping people with OCD, helping them to get past it or heal from it, whatever term you want to use, it can be extremely challenging for both the therapist and the person suffering from OCD, because the person with OCD, they are having to face something that their brain would normally be trying to avoid altogether, and it's a nightmare for the person suffering, and they can act out and sometimes lash out from frustration against the therapist. Now, some therapists may have experienced that for themselves, but dealing with OCD, facing your issues, does take a lot of effort. But on the other hand, it does help you to develop fortitude. So that's helpful. But Peterson, he's a genius. He's done some good work, and this is just a fraction of all the amazing work he's done for other people. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to share, like, and subscribe. And in the meantime, take care. There's more to come. All the best.